Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition. I don't know what I'm fucking saying anymore. To the ABJ Podcast This is episode 56. Ryan Vox hanging out once again. Ryan's been a frequent member of my content for quite some time. He's been on Tornado Tag, I think, more times than anybody. I think he definitely holds the record. It's been on there quite some time. And he has come on and talked a lot with us when it came to just wrestling in general, not just the local scene. He's been talking with us, old school stuff, WCW pay-per-views. We went and watched and talked about them again. So he's been here a long time. We're going to catch up with him and see what's going on new with him. But before we get into that, guys, it has finally happened. A whole store fully dedicated to vintage wrestling. They said it could never be done, but I've seen it with my own eyes. Suplex Vintage Wrestling is a store curated by wrestling fans for wrestling fans. Located on 5th Street in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, just 1 block south of South Street in the heart of the Queens Village. Their shop features the largest collection of vintage wrestling apparel under one roof. Their selection includes classic designs from featuring your favorite wrestlers from the Golden Age, the Attitude Era, Internationals, Indies, and more. And if you're tired of watching premium live events or pay-per-views at home, then SVW hosts the best watch party since your best friend Kyle's party when you were 12 years old. And actually, they're hosting one for Night of Champions, and I will be in attendance. So if you want to come hang out on I think it's the 27th, if I'm not mistaken, come on out to Philly. They're having a watch party. There's a lot of cool shit you're going to do there, and I will be there hanging out in Philly. So definitely come see that. And if shirts and watch parties are not your thing, then let's not forget their selection of figures, replica belts, and not just replica belts. They have the old school toy ones too, like every era of them, which is pretty dope. Wrestling buddies, everything's there. But also trading cards. I know Vox is a big trading card guy, so he might have to come up and check out those trading cards. Hats and rare wrestling memorabilia. They have something for every wrestling fan out there. So what are you waiting for? Check them out at suplex.svw on Instagram or at their website at suplexsvw.com and let them satisfy your nostalgia needs. So huge thank you to that sponsor. They have been killing it for me, helping me out. I'm rocking the shirt today. I try to rock it every now and then. I was out the other day wearing the classic Golden Age, and I got an RVD 421, so that was kind of fun. So yeah, that's going on there. Hunter Logos by Hunter been helping me out a lot with logos, trying to help me raise some funds. Your boy is going through it right now. So any support would be helpful if you go grab a t-shirt or whatever it may be. Also in my link tree is my Patreon. You can do as little as $1 a month, $2 a month. It would really help keep the lights on. I am without a car and without a job, and it is tough keeping the lights on. And if it's getting close to a point where those monthly subscriptions are coming up and I can't renew them. So if you guys can help me out, that would be amazing. Or this podcast is going audio only soon. So it really comes down to listener support. If you wanted to keep going, that would be the way to do it. So without further, I had just dropped a bomb on you guys, but without further ado, let's bring in my guest for episode 56, Ryan Vox.
Hey, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm fucking awful, but we'll get through this.
Yeah, we'll get through it, brother.
A lot of shit in the personal life, but we'll figure it out. We'll just we'll grit our teeth, we'll smile, and we'll figure it out. You know.
That's right. We're fighters, baby. That's what we do.
That's what we're trying. Yeah. So, man, how you been?
Man, I've been great. I've been so chilling and so relaxed, and I've just the past few months I've really just been working on Zen, if you will, just chilling out. And
I wish I can do that. I really do.
Man,
I need that in my life. I need
not worrying about anything.
I might have something like that coming up soon, where I just go and I'm Zen, but once again it costs money, and it's it's something where I have to, if I get a job, then I have to let them know, like, hey, I'm gonna be gone for a little bit. Are you gonna be cool with it? Type deal. So it's terrifying, but I have a Zen thing that can possibly come up in the works, but we'll see that. We'll cross that bridge when it gets to it. But you had a little bit of change of scenery since the last time I've seen you. You're hanging out over there at Orochi, right? Did I say that right?
Yeah, Orochi. Yes, Orochi Pro Wrestling. And it's great because I'm just a talent. I do nothing else. And it's beautiful. You know, don't message me asking me to get you booked. Can't do it, partner. Sorry.
So
that ain't me.
It's a GM role, but it's not a GM role. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm Commissioner Ryan Vox playing my role. That's it, baby.
I need a role on a show like that.
I love it. It's so great.
Yeah, I'm excited to see them. I know there's a lot of stuff coming up. A lot of stuff coming up soon with those guys we'll be talking about soon. But let's get into the promotion. Let's talk about it. How did this promotion come about? Maybe who's the brainchild behind it, if we're allowed to talk about it, and how did you get brought in?
Yeah, so I don't really know if he likes being very public about being the booker. Because he didn't the last time he was in a booking opportunity. But basically, it's the same guy that ran Quarantine for the second season.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to have a very Quarantine vibe, a very old school Outbreak vibe. It's one of the guys who was with Outbreak from the very beginning.
I really enjoy this guy's wrestling mind. I didn't watch Outbreak when it first was happening, and then I started catching up on it. And the people they were bringing in, the talent they were bringing in, the matches they were putting together, and the storylines they were putting together were done very well. So I'm very excited to see how Orochi carries that over.
Yeah, and they're doing their whole thing. You know, it's not going to be your general pro wrestling show or anything like that. I feel like it's got more of a Mortal Kombat theme to it. You know, and
it sounds like it.
Yeah, so I'm not a video game guy. That's like not my world at all. So luckily I don't have to write it. But you know, as it gets explained to me, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I like that. I like that. There's going to be one guy going through a huge change. And I rambled on for an hour. I was like, oh my God, what's this? Is he going to do this? Is he going to do this? Wait, what does that mean for this? What is that? It's amazing the way the minds are working. And, you know, they bounce stuff off me and I contribute here and there, but it's mostly his ball game and the talent that he talks to, because he talks to him just the way I used to.
Yeah. Now, every promotion says we're going to do things differently. And you know what I hear every single promotion say when they say they're going to do things differently? They say, we're going to focus on storylines. And I go, isn't that what you're supposed to do? Right?
I mean, I always thought so. That's what I always
I always cringe when I hear that in a meeting, especially I've been at a few different companies where it's like their startups or their early stages, and they go, you know what, we're going to stand out, boys. We're going to focus on storylines. And I think to myself, if you're starting a pro wrestling company, shouldn't that be part of it? Like
it should be. It should be. And you know what?
Your selling point, right?
But that's the thing. Like, how many shows do you go to where it seems like there isn't any? There's one or two storylines, maybe, you know?
Or they put a storyline together and it's just not good.
Well, yeah, there's also that.
Yeah. It's like, why would I come back to this? This is awful.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like a lot of times the problem there is you don't know how to whoever's putting it together doesn't know how to talk to the talent right, doesn't know how to deal with the talent right. So there's certain guys I knew I could be like, yo, give me a promo on this, boom, go. And they're going to nail it. I could say that to someone else and they just can't do it. It's not there. So I have to get the camera in front of their face and say, this is what I want you to say. Go.
Yeah.
All right, that was good, but you can do it again. Go. You know, and some of them you have to force it out. Some of them you have to catch them at the show. So, you know, if you really want to build your storyline, you have to be able to do all that different stuff.
Absolutely. And bringing the right people into your locker room who can be creative to do that. Like dude, you look at promotions in the past, you look at the Northeast scene, and it's just like, if I'm going to do storylines, I mean, I'm going to hit up the Goons. I'm going to hit up Tommy Vex. I'm going to hit up people that, as a promoter, I look at you and go, you know what you're doing. I want you to be creative here, and I'm just going to let you run. I know your matches are going to be good. I know you're going to be safe. I know you're not going to get the commission called on me. And I know you're going to be creative and you're going to work hard outside the scene. And I think that, and even if you can't make their rate, at least in that aspect, a talent's going to turn around and say, okay, they're giving me a little bit of creative freedom. That makes me want to be part of their brand more, instead of coming in and being like, I know you've been doing this crazy good stuff all over the place, but now I want you to do what I want you to do. And then they just don't.
I hate that.
They don't connect to it. And then it just
that's
flat.
The worst thing. And I think that, you know, and since I have no dogs in any fights, I feel like I can say this now. I think wrestlers should just say no and walk away.
Yeah.
If someone says, you know, we want you to come in here for this minuscule amount of money and change your persona for my show and my show alone, just tell them no.
Yeah.
Like, you work so hard on your persona and making your character. And my favorite thing about pro wrestling is that it's like a never ending story.
Mm-hmm.
And it can go from this company to that company. It's not just the indies, man. You can go back to the 80s and weave AWA and Texas into what WWF was doing. And like, it all flows. It all just keeps going. And if you just throw some random curveball in there, you're going to damage your brand.
Yeah.
You're going to mess up your own story.
Here's how I always kind of looked at it. And I don't think I've ever said this out loud or on a recording, but I feel like a lot of times, and I might get heat for this, but fuck it, my life's a shit anyway. So fuck it. I don't have a lot of friends. They're all falling away anyway. But like, it gets to the point for me where I think like wrestling schools and promoters and bookers take too much credit for what people do out of their own reach, right? So like someone comes in and they turn around and say, okay, I was trained by you. I went to your school. I used to work for your promotion. And then I left and then I blossomed. And then that person goes, well, they were here first and I taught them everything they know. It's like, no, you should be proud of them and not trying to steal as much thunder as you possibly can for their accomplishments.
Right.
So like, but like, imagine like these promoters come in and they book this talent and you turn around and go, okay, I do have two guys who don't really have a character. They don't really have anything going on the scene, but I see a vision in them. And that's the guys I want to make in my promotion. But then I'm going to bring in these 5 or 6 guys on the indie scene who have some cool stuff going on that can carry storylines over to our promotion, and I'll take a back seat and let them take that role. And I think a lot of that comes down to the ego, like where bookers or promoters go like, I don't want somebody else's stories on my story. You know what I mean? But it's just like,
yeah, sure.
They hate on WWE when they take a guy from the indie scene and completely transform him into something different and give him a new name and make them completely not what you fell in love with. But then you want the same independent talent to come to your promotion that's going to draw, let's say 150 people, and you want them to tear away everything they've been working on for the past 2 years and do it for you with no budget. You know what I mean? It's just like, it doesn't make sense to me.
Sure. Although to that point, if it's WWE asking you to change your persona, at the lowest, they're going to give you, I think it's like 35 grand a year to go to the performance. Name me an indie company that's going to give you 35 grand a year to change your persona. You know,
a guy like Sami Zayn, or we'll even do now in the indie scene, a guy like Jordan Oliver, a guy like Effie, a guy like they're probably making more than $35,000 a year. So why would they go?
Well,
you know what I mean?
Of course they are. Of course they will. If they want to be in the WWE and they want to chase that particular dream, that's what you're going to do. There was just an article, I think, last week where Sammy talked about it. Yeah. AJ talked about it too.
He went from $100,000 a year on the indie scene to $36,000 his first year on NXT.
Yeah. And then AJ Styles is real quick to point out that $100,000 in indie money is a lot different than $100,000 in WWE money.
You're working real hard for that $100,000.
It's a lot different. Yeah.
But it's, I don't know, it's weird, but like kind of it'll stem back to this question. Like I said, I know you're not actual management, but where does Orochi stand out? What does Orochi feel like is going to be different in that aspect when it comes to a locker room environment or what they bring to the? I personally have not seen the first show, and I do apologize. I will be at the next one. But what is the vibe? What can fans expect when they go to a show?
It's grittier. It's not sports entertainment. You know, there'll be some aspects there. There'll be a character here and a character there, but it's more fight driven with storylines mixed within it. But it's about the fight there, I think, is what, you know, they say, you know, you're coming to the war grounds. Okay. We're going to fight here, you know. I don't think he even has any established championships at the moment.
Does it sound like it's more of a Lucha Underground feel? Maybe
to that extent. I would doubt that it would be quite that cinematic.
Okay.
But yeah, probably more along those lines. Yes.
I love it. Well, there's definitely one thing for me when I look at the poster for the show
for Ground Zero.
Yeah, for Ground Zero. And I'm going to pull it up here real quick and put it up on the screen. Here's one thing you don't see a lot of in the Northeast, or just in a lot of promotions, is look how much representation's on that poster.
Oh yeah, everything. Everyone's represented. Well, almost.
Yeah.
Almost. Yeah.
But I'm saying is like, go look at some posters that are out there right now, and you look at their poster. Not that much representation on a poster.
Right. And take a look at a lot of these guys and these gals here. It reminds me of I don't know if you were around when Rampage was at its heyday, but we always called Rampage the Island of Misfit Toys.
Yeah.
You know, we were the broken toys no one else wanted to play with, so we're gonna play with each other and we're gonna have some fun, you know.
But man, if you don't want to play with half of these toys, you're a fool. Because if I started a company and Deshaun Pratt was willing to walk in, Merrick Miami was walking in, Arthur Amato was walking in, Riley Crow, James Grimm, like Al, they're the ones I personally know and I've worked with. But that's stacked, man.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, I can't wait for it. And I don't think I've ever gotten to work with Pratt before, so this will be fun.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to him a ton. I love the guy, but I don't think we've ever actually been even on a show together.
I am a Deshaun Pratt mark, and I will I'll never be ashamed to say I'm not. You know what I mean?
No, he's great. And him versus Robbie Radke.
Yeah, I'm a fan of him as a person, and he is the next guest. So that will be tomorrow night at 7:00. So if you want to hear some Deshaun Pratt stories, this guy has been through it all, and that will be happening tomorrow at 7. So, June 3rd, they're saying Rampage is back. I don't know about that, but yeah. So how did you get brought into the fold here? How did this all go down?
Basically, Quarantine left the Outbreak brand when we were going to start transitioning over, and Quarantine management had issues with Outbreak management, nothing to do with AXW management.
Yeah,
had issues with Outbreak management and decided they didn't want to do it anymore and they wanted to walk away. And I fully supported them in that decision. I said, yo, I'm always here to talk to. I'm always here to bounce ideas off of. I'm the boy. I'm gonna help you out whatever way I can.
I don't have a dog in the fight, and I'm not shooting from the hip, and I'm not trying to be mean or malicious. But I'm someone who didn't know the backstage stuff at that promotion. I wasn't privy to anything. I'm just a guy who sat down at a table and called matches. But you can definitely tell that there was a difference of opinions on how each brand should be handled. And it showed in the title match to me. I did not like the way that was handled. I'm just going to be completely honest and truthful on it. I thought it was very, very especially with the talent that they were going to use and just kind of taking that talent and kind of saying, see you later, dude. And I was like, that's the guy you release and not work with.
Yeah. That was one of my moments where I had a reaction that people didn't appreciate.
Yeah. I wasn't a huge fan of it. It's hard, man. And this is why I think my heel commentary is fun. Cause I don't give a shit when I'm heel commentary. I just say what's there. And I'll deal with the repercussions later. But I think that honesty in wrestling is good. You know what I mean?
It's absolutely good.
And I think if people trust me enough that I can be honest, but be respectful with my honesty, I think that's what I do when I bring a different side to the commentary table. Sometimes I shoot just to shoot to be funny as a heel guy, like a Bobby Heenan. I can't stand that guy, he's a jerk. And then there's sometimes I really maybe don't like the guy. You know what I mean? It's up to you to find out. But
hey, that'll happen. You can't like everybody.
Not everybody wins. Oh, there it goes here. High Tension says, howdy, y'all. And then they said everybody was perplexed at that moment. Yeah, I totally agree. I think the smart fans, and then I think the people in the back, and I think the people involved kind of see that happen, and they're like, that didn't make any sense. Why do you go that route? But once again, it's not our call. We're there just to do the job. But yeah, so they kind of separated, and then that became the Orochi thing, just to kind of get us back on track of how you became involved.
Yeah, and so then when my tenure with AXW came to an end, the first person I actually hit up was Tyler, laughing. I was like, well, I'm fired. We had seen this coming for a while. We had at least felt it coming for a while. And we just started laughing about it. He's like, so you're full-time with me then? I'm like, of course. I was going to be there anyway. So yeah, man, let's dive in. Let's get dirty. Have fun.
Yeah. So what's the vision when it comes to the future of Orochi?
I don't know. That's all on him. I have no idea. I know that he does want to get out of Jersey. I love Riverside, New Jersey. It's where I got my start. In my first year, I had a lot of matches there in that very building, Turner's Hall. But It is tiny. It's very small. So you're going to we're going to outgrow it pretty quick.
Is it seating, or is it like standing room? What's the vibe?
There's actually very comfortable chairs with tennis balls on the bottom of them, protect the floor.
Love that.
But very comfortable seating. Yeah. Yeah, it's very nice. It's a beautiful little place too. It's just little, and they have a bar downstairs, so that's always good.
So just kind of looking through the roster here, I think one of the best things they did, and I give a lot of credit for, I think it's a really smart idea, is they went through and they put out bios for their entire roster.
Yeah, I thought that was a great idea.
I think the bios are really, really fun. And just to kind of go through some here, you got Pure Ignorance, who I got to see them a little bit at Outbreak.
My boys.
Had a great match with Diamond City War Machines. You got 410 Massive. They're really entertaining.
Also,
Riley
my
Crow,
boys.
Ryan Vox. We know that guy. Jermaine is going to be just trying to look here. Oh, an interviewer. Then we have the backstage correspondent, Savannah Ray. I've been following her a lot. I haven't personally met her, but I've been watching her content and seeing her grind and hustle. She is someone I'm excited to meet. I'm going to butcher his name. Karinik. Ke, half his face painted.
Oh, I can't pronounce that either. I know him by his former name, and I'm not going to say it.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, and then you have the Entity, which is kind of like a stable we were almost getting at one point in time in early Outbreak days that just never came to fruition. Murloc, which is awesome. You got if you're a little Chikara guy, that's going to be a cool one to see. Christian Noir, Hyena Hex. I'm a fan of his work.
That's my boy too.
Captain Decapitate. Anytime he's in the building, I'm excited.
Always a good time.
Very, very talented. Suicide Myers, the Crew of Blood, which is going to be another stable there. AK Willis, big fan of him. MDV, Rico Hendricks. What else? It just goes on and on. I'm just trying to see some people that have been on the podcast here. Oh, Wild LLC, love that stable. Big F and Vin, who probably won't be there for a little bit because he did just suffer a knee injury, but the second he comes back, that's something to look forward to there. Ain't nobody better than Andy Header. Serious Business will be there. JS Hawthorne, who I feel is
what a gem. He ring announced at the first show.
Yeah,
he do was it all, fantastic. Man. He's so good,
bro. Wait till you see the next Smash Master show when it airs. His heel work. Oh, he's so good. He's the best character actor out there. He may or may not have done a match recently where he donned a mask, and just even him under a mask where you can't rely on his facial expressions, you just feel that character come out of him. Like, he's so good.
He really is. He's amazing. Another guy, very little direction needed.
No, not
just
at all.
Just be like, here's my bullet points.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, do you have any ideas to make it better?
That's a fun environment too, is when you go to a locker room and you go in and it's just kind of like, hey, like, here's our vision, but like, what do you think? Like, here's my idea.
Yeah.
You have anything you want to add to it? And I think having everybody have that input and feel,
it's
almost like,
I think that conversation is really important. It's really important because the company has to get what the company needs out of the match.
Yeah.
But when you're hiring talent, and you know that they can perform and you know they can do things well. So mesh it all up, get what they want to do and then put in what you need.
Wouldn't say the best. I think that moniker belongs to Joey Conway. I think Joey Conway's a great heel. But I think when it comes to the variety of characters that one person can do and do them on the fly and do them perfectly. You give him an accent, you give him baby face this, heel that. Like, JS Hawthorne, I don't think there's anyone on his level that can reinvent himself in the blink of your eye and have you believe his character. I mean, that's why he's the thespian. That's not a shoot, brother. That's legit. Uncle Masty, part of the roster, hanging out. Arthur Amata, really, really good. But yeah, I mean, it goes on and on and on. I'd be here all day going through that roster, but we are coming up on a show very soon. And some matches have been announced. What has been announced so far that I think you're the most excited for?
Radke and Deshaun Pratt. That match is going to just tear the roof off. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it at all.
Yeah. Is there a reason why for the people listening that maybe don't know anything about these two talent?
Well, like I said, Deshaun, like I said, never really worked with him, but I've been watching him a long time. I know what he can do. I know how great he is. He's a phenomenal tag team wrestler too. And then there's Robbie Radke, who, you know, my history with Radke. We go back to, it was my second year in the business and his first year in the business when we met.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been along for the ride the entire time. He's a brilliant fucking guy. He's so good.
Mind to the business.
Yeah, and he'll be there goon free. So it'll be it's going to be great. He doesn't have Bad Banks, you know, his former Bad Street tag team champion partner. He's going to be there all by himself, and he's going to be there to prove it. And I think that Pratt is the guy to try to prove it against.
I was always a fan of him. And then there was a day where I forget exactly what happened at Outbreak, but I think something happened where the show couldn't start right away, or there was some type of technical difficulty that they couldn't start the show right away, and they had to kill time. And I remember they killed it with promos. They sent you out to do a promo. They sent Header to do a promo, and then they sent Robbie to go out to do a promo before the show even started. And it was during that Header Robbie promo rivalry. I think it concluded that night with a tables match, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And Robbie cut a promo that I thought was so good, and I was just like, it made me see him in a completely different light as a talent. I was like, this guy's good. And then when he then started doing stuff with the Goons, it's like, oh, that's only going to enhance that story, because he's a good mind to the business. Yeah, and then how we say Deshaun Pratt was the first guy to break the internet on the independent wrestling scene. Guy's been around forever, has worked them all. He's now one of the head trainers at CZW. He's been through more adversity and ups and downs in a career than anyone can even imagine. And just to see those two veterans cross paths and have that showcase match is going to be really good.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. A lot of these guys I'm not super duper familiar with, so I'm also excited just to see them and to see what they do. The last show had a lot of Chikara talent on it, and I'm really not familiar with that. I'm not really into that universe.
Yeah,
and I was really impressed by a lot of them.
Who stood out for you?
Oh man, I'm gonna be so bad with their names. Air Raid, was that the name of a tag team?
Oh yeah, Mach 10 and Razor Wing.
Yes, they were really good. Yeah, they were really good. Who else did I see? King Crab?
Yeah.
I used to know him as Hermit Crab.
Yep.
But yeah, King Crab, he was there. I remembered him. I actually wrestled him once.
Well, Vox, while we're on the subject of King Crab, are you going to prom?
No.
You should come to prom.
Is that a Chikara gimmick? Is that what they're doing?
No, it's high tension. They're doing the high tension
prom.
Yeah, prom, and it's King Crab's prom. King Under the Sea King Crab prom. You should come out to prom, man.
Under the sea. Oh, that's fun.
I'm gonna be in the corner with a flask drinking. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, that actually sounds really fun.
Yeah.
I never went to my prom, so.
Me neither. This is legit my first prom.
Yeah. Those are all the ones that are just popping off my head right now. But yeah, they had a decent show. The crowd was very light. Yeah. You know, their first time in that town. I don't think they had a chance to do any like in-town promoting, really. It didn't seem like it. But hey, I just so happened to recently learn a whole lot of how to do that stuff really well. So promoting in towns and you know, my former occupation here in the business got a little crash course in it late in my run. So I picked up some things.
Yeah. That's exciting.
Yeah, you're always learning. I said to one of the guys, and I got a cross eye from him. I said, you know, man, if you're the smartest guy in the room, it's time to get yourself in a new room. And he's like, yeah, you know, I'm always trying to learn something. I'm always trying to figure something new out, you know?
Yeah. How was it personally? And if this is a question you don't want to answer, we can skip over. But how was it personally to kind of watch the transition of that company to go to AXW to Outbreak, then back to AXW, and I mean, like, kind of just seeing it, like, because I mean, when I think about it, man, you were one of those guys who put a lot into it. You were
sure.
face of it. You were someone doing a lot. So how does that because this businessman can mentally break you or tear you down or
Mhm.
lift you up. And I don't really know, like I said, I don't know a lot of behind the scenes, but just like it couldn't have been easy to build a brand and then build a brand and then now build a brand and then watch that like seemed like every 4 years that brand is just being changed and brought back up, changed, brought back up, and now it's just
Right.
you know, like how did you navigate that?
With a lot of care for my friends, really. Like right now as their product stands, it's not for me. Like I wouldn't want to be a part of producing that particular kind of product. So I was bound to be out the door one way or the other, because that's what they wanted to do at this point.
Yeah,
It wasn't always that way, Outbreak.
it's another rebrand.
Yeah. Like at Outbreak, we strive to be more PWG like, like you remember the Temple Arena, like that's we wanted to be able to profit at a spot like that where 300, 400, maybe 500 people that really love pro wrestling and they're here for pro wrestling and that's what they want and they want to get invested in it. What they want to do is, and they're succeeding at it hands down, is be very family friendly, be very community friendly. And I love all, that's great. That's just not what I do.
Yeah.
We never had kid tickets at Outbreak. If I could have wrote, "Don't bring your kids to this show" on the flyer, I would have. Like it was a PG-13 product. It's not for your kids, We were doing gritty pro wrestling. Like I wouldn't let my daughter watch the wrestling that I watched in the 80s.
Yeah.
I'd be like, no, honey, we're not watching this Dusty Road segment. No.
Yeah. But it is crazy when people say that it's gotten worse over the years. It's like, I don't know, man. Going back and watching some of the older stuff on Funny Old Tag,
some of it used to be really bad.
Yeah, man.
Some of it used to be bad. But you know what? This hit me the other day. I was watching, I think it was Barry Windham versus Brian Pillman. And, they ended up bleeding in the match like they do. And it didn't seem like it was that bad. It's not like when Mox cuts himself and it's just pouring puddles out. Like, so I think to that degree, there are certain people that really bleed heavy. And like, that's when I'll turn the program off personally, just because I don't want to see that myself.
I didn't see I haven't seen the whole show yet, but I watched a little bit of Backlash. I seen clips of Backlash.
Yeah.
Did Lesnar hard way? Like, did he legit?
He would have had to.
Like he hit and immediately it was open and he bled like an animal.
Yeah, but like purposely.
Yeah.
Hard way. Like that was on the threshold for me. Like he was bleeding a lot, but it wasn't enough to make me say, "Okay, I'm done with this. I'm done with this."
WWE, I think the last time they've ever worked me and I consider myself a pretty smart fan.
Oh, I love when they work me. I friggin' pop.
They worked me with that Lesnar and made me hate him because he just wasn't like, they sold the whole thing like to make me hate him as a legit human being and that he didn't care about the company and he was taking the title hostage. Like I bought into that and I was just like, this is so stupid. Why would they keep? I get he's a name draw, but why would they? And then like. Then they unfortunately like they did it, and then the outbreak happened. the shoot outbreak. But like, and then I seen like, oh my god, how did I not see this vision in front of me? Like this is their plan. This is the way it went down. And I will honestly say, man, like I know Andre is that name that is hard to conquer when it comes to like that spectacle, like Andre and Hogan. But it's just like, if you look at it, man, it's hard not to put Brock up there as the top guy because like
he's definitely up there.
There's never going to be another human like him.
No, he's once in a lifetime. And like current Brock might be my favorite Brock because it seems like he's having the most fun he's ever had.
Yeah, and it's like almost like we're getting that, like he's doing interviews and we're getting to hear him talk and legit be himself, and then it just carries over and you're like, holy fuck. Like not only is this guy so intense and just like if he wanted to just go out there and just kill everybody because his look and everything about him
Mhm.
is amazing, but like he's out there taking bumps from people. He's out there selling for people.
Yeah,
Like
and
I
doing it
never want
well.
to hear I never want to hear anyone else say like, "Oh, I'm a big guy. I don't sell for little guys." Like, look at Lesnar. Like
Yeah,
he'll wrestle Bryan, he'll wrestle Finn, he'll wrestle Cody, like, and he's selling and he's
yeah.
cutting and like it's crazy.
Did you see the go home promo for the Lesnar Cody match?
I did not. I haven't watched
Where
wrestling in probably like 3 weeks.
Cody popped him one real good one, and that was all it took. And Brock sold that mother. Oh my god, it was so good. It looked like Cody punched him in the jaw, dislocated his jaw the way Brock was acting. And he kept it going up the ramp, back down the ramp when the security guys came in. Like it was, he knows what the hell he's doing. He's so good.
He's so talented. Well, you know what?
Yeah.
I realized, like, Vox, we talk so much, and I realize this is a brand new podcast and a brand new platform and a brand new everything. So there may be people who are listening to this who don't know your story. So let's dive into that a little bit. So we're talking about our wrestling moments and stuff. But when did you catch this bug? What's your earliest memory of this business that you realized that you fell in love with this and it's something you wanted to do?
When I realized it was something that I really wanted to do,
or just as a fan, when did you realize that you fell in love with this as a kid?
I don't have a memory of that happening because it was just always there.
Yeah,
wrestling was just always there in my family. I didn't have a choice in the matter. We were watching that on the family television, whether I wanted to or not. It didn't matter if Smurfs were on. We were watching wrestling, so I always grew up with it, and then my childhood had a little bit of a dark period, and my only real friend was 605 on TBS and the early morning Saturday, Sunday wrestling shows. That was the only time I could kind of escape my mind for a while, for a few years. And then it never really went away until Attitude Era is kind of about when I started to wind down. Like when the Attitude Era was getting super Jerry Springer-ish, I was just like, all right, I don't have time for this. I'll come back some other time. And
really, so Attitude Era was like where everyone pretty much says they fell in love with it. At your point, you fell out of love with it.
Yeah, so I watched the Nitro, and I swear to Christ, we went 90 minutes and they didn't have a single wrestling match. It was just interview and Nitro party, and like
I didn't watch WCW. I felt like I was a WWF guy through and through. And if you left my company and you went to WCW, I hated you. You were a traitor. I won't watch it. And I remember I have been going back and like trying to rewatch all of the Nitros.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, some of those are rough.
Some of them are really rough. Yeah, you ain't kidding. It was tough being a WCW fan.
Yeah,
it was. But I always root for the underdog. That's who I am. You know, I always liked it. Yeah, I don't think I came back around to it until I was, here and there I would catch stuff, but I didn't get heavily invested again until I met a dude named Davey Bly. And he was the bass player of another band that my band used to play with all the time. And eventually circumstances happened and he ended up playing bass in the same band as I was in for a while. And that band kind of fell apart right around Pipe Bomb era. So now I'm heavily invested in it, and I've got a whole bunch of friends on Twitter and we talk about wrestling nonstop and we're complaining about this, complaining about that. And I'm not a complainer. So Davey and I were talking, we're like, well, why don't we fucking do something about it then? And I was like, okay, well, I'm a little guy. I can't really wrestle, but I'd love to manage. I could manage you. Yeah. Let's go find a wrestling school. And we found the Dungeon through Steve Carino, who I, in one of my bands, had written theme music for. So that's how I kind of got my in. And he introduced us to the Mess Brothers and the Dungeon. And it went off from there. Davey ended up going to a school not just closer to his house, but like 2 blocks away from his house.
Oh, wow.
At the Monster Factory. He basically lives like right by the factory. And he was driving all the way out to the Dungeon. And I forget if it was Tuesday, Wednesday, or Wednesday, Thursday, but he would end up like sleeping in the parking lot of a Walmart overnight, going to the gym the next day, and then picking me up and going back to training again. Like, it's wild how dedicated he was when he was breaking in, man.
And it's insane too, because like That's another thing I think that's kind of crazy, and maybe it's that older school mentality. I don't know if it's as prevalent as it is now, but it's just like back then, if you joined a wrestling school or a promotion, like you don't work the other guy, you don't go to that other school, you don't go to other promotion. And now it's kind of the point where like talent are like, no man, do some reps here, and then go check out this school, and then go check out that school. And
yeah, Dungeon never had an issue with that.
Yeah, and it's to say you could have either went Dungeon or you could either go Monster Factory. They're both home runs.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Monster Factory actually on Apple TV as we speak.
Yes, they are on Apple TV.
On documentary on that school. If you don't
getting
know anything
rave
about
reviews.
Yeah, if you don't know anything about the Monster Factory, you should, because it is a legendary school and has legendary history, and a lot of names that you have watched as a child or currently on WWE or AEW are out of that school right now. One
Absolutely.
just main evented Backlash. Well, no, it wasn't main event. Was it? Was Bad Bunny main event?
No, he was semi.
Semi-main?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
the other guy who Bad Bunny wrestled came out of Monster Factory.
Yeah, and the Impact World Champion.
Oh yeah. I almost forgot who the Impact World Champion is, because they've been changing that up a little bit there. Well, not a little bit. What's his name got hurt. I just forgot who.
Yeah, Josh got hurt. They had to move it on. Yeah. And then so we start training at the Dungeon, and I am struck with the news that you don't get to just sit here. If you want to be a manager, you actually have to get in the ring and do all the exact same things that the wrestlers have to do. And I was like, ah, shit. Okay. So I got in, and it hurt, but it didn't hurt as bad as I thought it was going to hurt. And I just didn't stop. And I said, hey, if I'm doing this, I might as well wrestle. So then I ended up wrestling for a while. And, I had a solid 4 or 5 years of kind of doing things my own way and beating my own drum out in the independent world. And I had a pretty fair amount of success, I would say, for the short time I was out there. And then once the opportunity to book for the original AXW came up, I just stopped doing everything else.
Yeah.
I focused completely on booking. I was on the roster, and I took myself off the roster. I was like, no, I can't do it. If I'm going to be booking the show, I shouldn't be, out there wrestling too. That's just my mindset,
My first ever independent wrestling show as an adult, because I did a few of them, like when they used to come to the local high schools, like Monty City had wrestling shows, and Shenandoah and North Schuylkill, and they would bring in, I don't even know who the promotions were, because it was essentially just kind of like how it is now. This is where it's funny to me, like these kids now, it's like I couldn't even tell you the promotion who ran in our own high school, but I could tell you what names came in, and that.
Same.
Yeah. So I experienced that, and then my first as an adult wrestling show that I went to was AXW in the Firehouse in Pottsville, Pennsylvania. And I got blackout drunk, and it was not fun.
Yeah, and it was a good time. And I was just a talent at that point. I literally had nothing to do with what was going on backstage. Livewire. Yeah, I was Livewire.
Yep. Because I remember we got hammered, and Kickstart My Heart came on, and we all drunk sang it, and they tried to turn the music off, and we kept singing it.
It just kept going. Yeah. So we kept feeding it.
Yeah.
We kept feeding it, brother, because we had like 8 minutes, and if you guys are gonna sing for one of them, might as well.
Yeah.
Might as well, man.
That's 6 less bumps.
Yeah, we were working. Who were we working that night? The Kings of Mustachery. So we'd work them 9,000 times. We knew our match inside and out. We didn't have to do no talking.
Who was the guy that came out, the very large black dude who came out with the shirt that says "I hate crackers"?
Oh, that was Jamal.
That was awesome.
Jamal, yeah. He's fun.
He was a fun one to heckle. Another guy who was really, really good. He got hurt real bad. I don't know if he ever came back. The other Andy Hardner.
Who got? Oh yeah, Andy Harner. I don't think he ever did. I think I tagged with him once.
He was a psycho,
in Temple under AXW.
He's the first indie guy I watched. I was like, dude, this dude is just throwing his body anywhere.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. But you couldn't have him and Header in the same company. I feel like I think people would get a little just confused by the name.
Gonna change their name.
Well, I know I did when I first met those guys. I definitely got the names confused.
Team them up.
Yeah. It would have been a good team.
They would have been. And then Blue Meanie was there that night. I was really excited. That was the first time I ever met the Meanie. And my favorite memory from that show was Sammy Pandora versus WrestleBay or Vanity. I'm not sure what she
Vanity.
And fucking we got I was like, Pandora's box, Sammy Pandora. And I was just like, oh, Pandora's box. And I was just like, break that box. And I didn't know Vanity legit did Shattered Dreams as a move.
Yeah.
So we
she
literally
does.
fed right into her spot. And I was just like, oh, this is great. That was a fun night, man. I remember, that was a really fun wrestling show. And then that kicked it off for me. I may or may not know somebody who has the banner that was hanging outside the
no.
That night. I guess it fell on the ground and got drug up the sidewalk. And they wrapped it up.
I'll just take that with me. Hey, these things happen. It happens. Nice little souvenir. The only time AXW ever ran there.
Yeah, it was a fun night. So when you said you were going to no longer wrestle and just go to the booking thing, did that bother you at all? Or you're like, man, I want to do this again? Like, how do you mentally get over that?
No, I was pretty good with it. I was all right with it. I did still continue working for Rampage for, I don't know, 6 or 9 months because we had a story to wrap up.
Yeah.
But after that, I was completely fine with just focusing on AXW and then Outbreak and just making that everything that I could make it be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I did pretty good, man, for a guy with no experience doing it.
Dude, I
think I did okay.
All I've been doing this entire time. I've been faking it till I make it.
Yeah, can you do this? Sure, I can.
Yeah. Have you done commentary, bro?
Absolutely.
And then after the show, like, all right, so what is that like? How many times? Oh, that was my first. That was my first time doing that. So,
that was the first time I did. Yeah.
What is some of your real quick before we get into that? Anyone in the chat, let us know if you have any other questions you want to ask. We are getting closer to that hour mark, and I want to let you guys have the opportunity to talk to us as well. But before we do that, I'll get to our next question. Elevation 1470 is reinventing the style by bringing traditional nostalgic apparel to the fractal and surrounding areas of School County, Pennsylvania. They pride themselves on hometown heritage and community. Elevation 1470 is where the trail begins. You can find them at www.elevation1470.com to find the latest in traditional nostalgic styles in School County, Pennsylvania. And that's our other sponsor. And also, we talked about them a little bit too. High Tension Wrestling. Check them out on all social media and YouTube for all their awesome content. And come to prom. I need a prom date. So if anybody wants to be my prom date, I will happily oblige. I put out. So you can buy me a drink first.
There you
go. So the question I had for you here is what are some favorite moments of the brands and the changes that it's gone through between quarantine and Outbreak and then AXW, then back to AXW? What are some moments that really stand out to you as a GM, as a booker that you're proud of, or a storyline or anything like that just really stick out to you for those promotions?
The first one was probably the finish to Damian Smith versus Andy Header when Andy got the title, but it was because DB Kraft had come in and smacked Dame with the title and ran off with the championship, and then that led to the three-way ladder. I loved it so much. I loved it. I thought it was a great finish, and I got a lot of not that I necessarily care about compliments, but when someone said it was the best Dusty finish they've seen in a long time, I was like, oh, bless my heart. Oh, thank you so much. The Ian Bush, long, slow burn.
You're doing that Roman Reigns push with Ian before anybody else.
Dude, we were planning this since before he debuted. Like, this has been the idea all along.
Dude, he's one of the things I do miss with Ian Bush is I'm doing it a little bit now. Pull the curtain back. Kayfabe's dead. I'm doing a little bit now with Ricky Price, where we kind of have this like feud, and who else? Like, realistically, promoters don't give a shit if someone's feuding with a commentary guy. No one gives a shit. But me and Ricky are having fun with it. But like the first person I would say that like that rivalry happened is because he instated it was Ian. He's like, yo, man, I've never been on your podcast.
Yeah, what's up with
everybody else? Well, what about me? And I was just like, oh, I'm leaning into this harder now. And I was like, oh, Ian was sucks. And it was starting to build, and it just sucks that we're not in the same company anymore. Because I do respect him a lot. And
he's come so far.
Yeah, he's a fun dude. And then someone broke into his house, or broke into a house or something, and then they found out who it was, and it was somebody from Monty City that we were mutual friends on Facebook. So then I was saying, like, I sent a goon to his house for the title or something, like, you know what I mean? Like, like he's a super entertaining guy. He's fun. But yeah, that Ian Bush stuff was really entertaining as well.
Yeah, it really was. Like I said, that was a slow, long burn, and we didn't hot shot it. We waited until everything was just right, and we had all the right pieces, and we had the next guy to build, and we knew, boom, exactly when to pull the trigger. I think it, perfect.
Yeah.
Some missed bullets. The entire Bad Street division, Radke carried it on his back as strong as he fucking could, and he made as much sense of it as he fucking could. But that shit was snake bit, dude. That shit was snake bit.
Every show.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a 6-man title. That was incredibly difficult to book, like as far as availabilities and getting everyone and stuff like that. So we changed it into this tag title with the Bad Street rules, and then for some reason that, oh my god, like the ladder match fiasco, like it burned it so bad.
I think
it was so well intended. It is. And yeah, the Bad Street, and then the way it concluded breaks my heart, just absolutely. Because if we're gonna go ahead and pull that a little bit, the original plan for the Bad Street title as a 6-man was supposed to be Radke, Banks, and AK. But AK got injured at the camp that was held that afternoon.
Yeah.
But he was supposed to be the 3rd Bad Street champion. So I kicked and screamed and yelled and did everything I could to make sure that title was in that boy's hands at some point, before we closed the curtain on the company. And of course they got it right off of him. And
that camp is where I attribute the credit to you guys of me finding out about Hawthorne, and then from Hawthorne finding out about Sanctuary, because I was legit friends with Hawthorne through another person first, and I used to go like to the podcast. We went to the theater where he was helping and studying, and I met him, and he was just this goofy, chubby dude who looked like a goofball, and he's like, I'm going to be a pro wrestler, and he was just like, he was him. He wasn't this entity of this person that we have now. And it's funny, we were talking about this on the car ride home, because I was gushing over how much I love this man and how much I'm so proud of him. But like, he already had a strange look, but the confidence wasn't there. That change, that metamorphosis change, that cocoon that he has built. And then he cut that promo at the camp, and I felt like he was born. And then it went not viral, but I think it made its way around to the boys, and it made its way around the Northeast scene. And I think people were like, wait a second, this kid's got something. And then he just kept it going and kept it going. And I just remember like finding him and then going to the Sanctuary and watching him work. And it was the same dude. He still hasn't leaned down and got to the point where he is now, but that he carried himself differently. He talked differently. His look changed. Everything about him, of just like he went from that nerdy theater kid who just didn't seem to have confidence in himself to becoming what we now know as Jazz Hawthorne, and just becoming this entity, but still not. He's not an egomaniac. He's still helping everybody around him. He's still extremely humble. And if I was saying this in front of him, he would probably get teary-eyed and say, "Stop it, stop it, stop it." But it's just watching his growth and development, and it started for me to believe in him, because when he told me, I was like, get the hell out of here. You know what I mean? Like, you see some of those people are like, bro,
sure.
Have you seen your bright red hair and your weird haircut and your big, huge, bushy beard, and you're kind of and then that promo hit, and I was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Wait a second. He's found something.
Yeah, that was our introduction to him too. And then
it was just,
and he was a big part of the real Quarantine series. He was a really big part of that.
So talented. But yeah, that's a highlight for me when it comes to the branding of both of them. And I will say this, I think if I look back at my days of Outbreak Wrestling and I look back at all of that, and he's not gone, and the night he did leave, it hurt my heart, and I was like, I don't know if I can handle this anymore and come to shows with him not being here. But I fell in love with Ed House. Like Ed House was that guy, man. I was just like, when I think professional wrestling for a long time there, I thought Ed House. Like,
yeah,
I look
why
forward to
wouldn't
his.
you?
Yeah, I look forward to his matches. Also, great podcast. Never did a podcast with a guy at his kid's baseball game.
That was fun, right?
Oh yeah, hitting dingers, and he's like, yeah, that's Ed.
That's Ed House. That's the beauty of Ed House. Like I said on your episode when I was in the chat, he's the only person that I was like, yeah, you can do a vertical promo while you're sitting on the toilet, and absolutely.
Yeah,
that's you. That's who you are.
Good. But that and probably one of the coolest things I've ever done. And it was because of you, and it was thrown together. And I don't know if you just like it fell apart on you guys, and I just happened to be standing there, and you're like, curveball, Blackwell, I know you can do it, but me and BP will always be super appreciative of hosting Q&A session with Demolition like that.
Yeah, man.
That is something you'll never like. That's a once in a lifetime opportunity, and to be working with just insane legends. And hosting a Q&A and giving a good experience to everybody and then being able to film it so we have proof of it forever. We're very thankful for that as well. And as a content creator,
I'm thankful that you guys did it because the person that put it together did not do a very good job of putting it together.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things we could have done better that, if they do it at the next convention, I'm sure they'll have all those kinks worked out. So don't feel leery about going. Yeah, I'm sure they know what went wrong, so they'll fix it.
It was so fucking hot. That's the only thing I wanted to change. Just
well, they fixed that.
Yeah, thank God. I was begging them, like, please get it out of June. But no, that was a super big moment, and like Outbreak Wrestling for me was the first promotion that brought me in as a content creator, that brought in Tornado Tag Podcast, and I did those backstage interviews at that little tiny firehouse that that Mustache Mountain bled all over and cut his arm open and then ripped and threw the tape and hit a young child in the face with a bloody tape. And I watched him have a meltdown, and it was the funniest thing ever. But just like that was where I got my introduction. I knew I sucked at backstage interviews, but it was a place where you guys gave me a shot. Then PPW and Sanctuary commentary called, and you guys like, hey, you do commentary here too. So, but so I was thankful for those moments of Outbreak and AXW and being a part of that and growing as a brand and as a person. I felt like I was like the first one in, the first content guy in, and planted my flag, but then also made it so like everybody else can come in. And I think I laid good bricks down for the next group of content creators to come in and be like,
absolutely,
Tony set a good standard, and we're willing to trust people to come in the doors. You know what I mean? And I'm proud of that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We loved having you. There were so many people that were, myself included, learning on the fly. We're building this all together.
Yeah.
And the more like-minded people you could have on board, the better.
I just forgot another thing. When I think Outbreak Wrestling, besides Captain Decapitate, Andy winning Weinberg. Bro, he was a staple of Outbreak.
He was.
Dude, it didn't matter who wrestled. Honestly, I'm going to be honest, I couldn't even remember who he managed.
Sure.
Because when he was out at the ring,
that's all you were paying attention to.
He's the only one getting attention. Dude, fans would come in with the Fruit Loop boxes and like crazy. I miss that.
Yeah, Andy and I go way back, man. I really miss that. I'm trying to plug my phone in because it's about to die.
You're good.
But it ended up being the same thing that we had an issue with a lot of talents, is that they were very, very good. So there we go. So they were also working for MCW. And MCW always seemed to run the exact same weekend that we were running. So that's why you started seeing less and less of certain people, because they had a bigger commitment. I'd never begrudge anyone that.
He's one of those ringside managers that I just kind of like stopped seeing, and it bummed me out. But then obviously you got your Mary Beths and your Dustins and stuff coming in. So that was, but I did miss that.
Corey Cross holding the fort down the whole time.
Corey Cross, yep. He's another one I like to build a little rivalry with. He's fun to mess with.
Yeah.
If you could write a letter to a younger Ryan Vox, what would it say?
Fuck them. Do what you want, man.
Fuck it all comes out in the wash.
Yeah.
Yeah,
basically that's it, dude. Like if I wanted to go to the ECW dojo when I was 18 years old and everyone talked me out of it.
Yeah.
And I went on a completely different path. And not that I didn't like the hard rock metal world. It was fun. I had a great time. But everything I did on stage was a parody of something I had seen in wrestling. I was just channeling wrestling onto the stage.
Yep.
You know, I needed a wrestling ring to produce what I want to produce.
Last one here, and we'll get out of here. Ryan Vox, did you like working with Bill Brown in Lancaster Championship Wrestling?
I did not. Not that I didn't like, but I never worked for him.
Oh,
I did one little show for LCW's the old tag team gimmick they used to do. I forget what it's called now, but it was like a big tag team tournament they did every year. And I was honored. I really was, honestly, to be a part of this. And then I rolled in and found out that we were just a squash team in a 4-way tag match. And I was like, that fucking sucks. Yeah, but
all right.
And then the tournament was won by Jay Diesel and the man currently known as Dijak.
Really?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Ryan, where can people find you, and what do you want to plug before we get out of here?
Orochi Pro, it's July 8th, Ground Zero, Riverside, New Jersey, Turner's Hall. Oh, we were going to announce a match. Tonight against two very, very good ones. I've been a part of these guys' career since it blossomed. I love seeing their growth. I can't wait to see them collide. Do you have it ready?
Let's do it. 3.
Let's go.
2.
TJ Reno, Merrick Miami, 1-on-1. This is going to be crazy. I'm so excited for this, man. Oh, 2 young guns ready to take them out. Young guns with experience. Beautiful. I love it. I can't wait. Oh, man. I've known them since I wrestled TJ's dad 5,000 times. I've known him since, he was a yay high. And I believe I was there for Merrick's first wrestling spot ever. He was little bit on the south side of being an adult, cross state lines with a mask on, but we had some fun. We took care of him.
Him and his headers match was very, very good.
Right? Yeah. Right? Yeah.
We'll get one last question here. Justin Williams says, will Silver Assassin be there?
I think Silver Assassin's back off in parts unknown, man. I don't know if he's ever coming back. I heard some rumors of DK3 being around, but
there you go.
All
right. Where else can people find you?
Besides that, I'm Ryan Vox on every social media handle except for TikTok because I'm old and I really don't understand it. I tried.
Yeah. It's essentially TikTok's in every other app right now. And
well, yeah, that's what I figure. Like now we have Reels, so it's like the same thing, right? I can be old and stay on Facebook, and I can do it that way, right?
Yep, absolutely.
And other than that, Facebook group, Not Your Kids Collectibles. If you like your little wrestling figures and your 8x10s and your wrestling cards, which is most of what I sell, we have a good time in there too. We had a great discussion going on during Backlash.
Nice.
That was fun. I haven't been a part of a good old online wrestling discussion during a show in a while. Probably since the group shut down.
Yeah. RIP. All right. Well, that'll do it. We'll close there. Episode 56. Ryan Vox. We'll check us out tomorrow at 7:00 with Deshaun Pratt, and then again on Thursday with Jay the Key Evans. So a lot of talk about a spectrum of independent wrestling right there. So we're really excited. Next week is going to be even more jam packed. But we'll see you guys then. We're out of here, and here's some music by Converse Kid, Billy Trey.
Yeah.